Guys, thank you so much for joining me on today's video. I'm going to be talking about my favorite and must-have makeup brushes and also one makeup tool that I think that you really should have in your collection. So you guys have heard me talk about some brushes before, and this is going to be more of an in-depth video actually showing you brush by brush what I use it for and why I think you need it. The first thing that I do want to talk about is the beauty tool that I was mentioning, and this is like the most used product on my channel and I'm just so passionate about it. That's why I always talk about it. It's in so many favorites videos I've had. It's in my 2014 beauty favorites. It's very, if you watch my videos, it's probably very, very well known. And like I said, it's for a good reason because I am so passionate about it. This is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. This is the hands down best beauty blender dupe on the market, and I love this so much because it is so similar to the Beauty Blender but for a fraction of the price. The Beauty Blender, if you're not familiar, is an egg-shaped sponge like this, and so it's very much the same concept, but this is the only sponge that is as soft as the Beauty Blender, that expands nicely, that blends out my makeup, has the same sort of texture as the Beauty Blender does. But the Beauty Blender is $20 and this is $6. I purchased mine at Ulta. I will leave a link for them down below. And I just think this is so vital for makeup application. I use this to blend out my foundation and blend out any liquid concealer that I have. Namely underneath my eyes. So what you're going to want to do is actually get this sponge completely wet. Do not try using this sponge dryer. You're not going to get the same effect. So you get the sponge all the way wet, expand it in your hand like this under the sink or under the faucet. And once it's completely expanded, it'll be about twice the size. Here's a dirty one that I used today so you can see the difference here. And it becomes much softer as well. So you expand it, then you squeeze all the water out, even maybe squeeze it into a paper towel. That's what I do every morning before I actually start using it. And then pick up some foundation, blend it all over your face. And then like I said, you can also use it for concealer. This is going to pick up just enough product, not a lot, but it is going to pick up some of the product to where none of your face, and especially underneath your eyes, is not going to look cakey. It's not going to look, you know, like creepy under there. It's a flawless application, and I really do prefer this sponge over a brush. So keep that in mind as well. The next brush that I want to mention, and just side note, keep in mind, some of these are really dirty, and because I did just use them for my face today, so this is real life. But the next brush that I usually use immediately after putting on my foundation and my concealer underneath my eyes is this brush right here. This is a Sigma tapered highlighter brush. This is the F35. Now, also I'd like to mention that a lot of these brushes are going to be Sigma brushes. They're just brushes that I've purchased myself that I like a lot. I think they're really good for the price. And I know there are other companies out there like Morphe brushes. There's just a lot of brush companies out there right now that do make quality brushes, but just keep in mind these are the ones that I just have purchased myself and I love. So this one is like a tulip shape like this, and it's small enough to fit right underneath my eye area. And what I use this for is to set my under eye concealer. So I dip this into a powder of my choice, and then I just dab it underneath my eyes, and that sets the concealer in place. And that's really the only thing that I use this brush for, but keep in mind throughout this video, you can use these brushes for whatever you like. There is, even if it has a name on it, for example, this says tapered highlighter, you can use this for a highlighter brush. So that is completely up to you. There is no rules as to what you have to use it for. The next brush that I have been using for a really long time now is this large powder brush. This is also from Real Techniques that you can find at Ulta, and I use this for actually its main use, which is to powder my face. So just like I set my under eye concealer with the tapered highlighter brush, I do like to put this into some sort of pressed powder or loose powder and set the rest of my face to make sure my foundation does not move or budge throughout the day. Another brush that I use for my face is another large type powder brush, although you can see the difference here in how this one's a little bit more tapered. This one is from Sigma. It is their F30 large powder, and I love this brush for bronzer. This is like came to my rescue months and months ago because I could not for the life of me find a brush that I liked that didn't make my bronzer look muddy and like skip along my cheeks. I could not find a brush, and this one has been so great. So that is what I use it for. This is for warming up my face. It is large, it is rather big, so I just use it for areas of my face like that. I do not use this for contouring or anything like that, but this brush is awesome. It's very soft, really good quality, and I love it for bronzer. For contouring, I am a brat, and I do use a separate brush, and this is the kind of expensive NARS Ita brush. This is really famous on YouTube, and I cannot find another brush that I like as well as this one. And this is absolutely perfect for carving out your cheekbones and other areas on your face. The bristles are so soft and very flexible on this. So you're not going to have like a harsh line and then not be able to blend it out because the bristles are too tightly packed. It's just the most unique, well-made brush that I own, and I love it for contour. For blush, this is a brush that I've had so long. In my opinion, there are so many good blush brushes out there, and this just happens to be the one that I've had for years, and this is the short-handled blush brush from MAC. I don't know if I can even read or make out the number because it's been used so much that you can't even see the MAC MAC writing on the handle here. But I just like how this brush is tapered. You can see it's like squeezed here and then it kind of fans out, and I just love this for blush. I actually like to tap my blush on and then kind of blend it out. But like I said, there are a lot of great blush brushes out there. It really just depends on your preference. Now getting to the eyes, these are brushes that I have used for at least 2 years now, and I use them on a daily basis when I'm making or creating an eye look. And the first one is actually the first one that I usually use, and this is the Sigma E40 tapered blending brush. And this is so iconic, I feel like, as far as makeup brushes go, because I just see everybody that I watch on YouTube, like they all, I feel like, use this brush. It's rather kind of big for the eye, but in a good way. I use this for my transition shade, and also I use this several times throughout my eyeshadow application to blend out any harsh lines or eyeshadows that I feel like need a little bit more of a smooth look. This is just such a fantastic brush. This is a brush that I literally cannot live without, and I will continue to repurchase it as needed. This one is something that I would recommend if you do have the budget to do so, to have multiple in your collection. The next brush that I usually use is a Sigma E25 blending brush. This is like a really short one because once in a while, maybe every time, but that you make a purchase from Sigma and you spend like $30, they'll add in a free gift. And a couple times that I've made purchases, this has been the free gift, which is really nice because it is a brush that I live by. And like I said, it's the E25. So it's very similar to the E40, but it is not synthetic hair like the E40 one is. It is, I believe, goat hair, which is very humanely acquired, by the way, but it is a little bit more tapered as well. And this is just gonna blend out your eyeshadow in a different way than the synthetic fluffy brush will do. I love this for a little more concentrated color into the socket of my eye, and also to blend out the outer corner of my eye because it is a little more tapered, so it's going to concentrate product just a little more than a dome fluffy brush like this would do. The next brush I want to talk about is a large shader brush. This is the E60 from Sigma, and I like this for packing color all over my lid, and that really is all I use this brush for. I think that's how it performs best, is just to take whatever color I want on my lid area and packing it on. It also works really great for pigments, and if you want to use this brush also to highlight underneath your brow bone, it works really well for that. Another brush that I really cannot live without is a pencil brush, and there are so many brands who have pencil brushes. This one is the E30 from Sigma, and this I use every day to blend eyeshadow underneath my eyes on my lower lash line. It's small enough to perform that, and I just think it is very precise, but yet it allows me to blend the product out as well. It's not just going to create like a harsh line under your eye. It actually like diffuses and softens the shadow under there, so I really like it. It's also good to have in your collection because you can use it for, say, a really intense cut crease or something. If you want a very small brush to apply, you know, eyeshadow in a really particular location, it's perfect size for that. Another thing is too, you can wipe this brush off between eyeshadows and use this for your inner corner highlight because it is so small. It fits really well in the inner corner. This is another one that I actually need to purchase more myself because I do think it is handy to use in several different areas on the eye, and therefore, you know, would be nice if you had more than one in your collection. The last vital brush in my collection, an angled brush, and this is the MAC 208, but there are, again, so many companies that have really great angled brushes. You can buy one from Sigma that I think would be perfectly fine. This just happens to be the one that I bought a long time ago that is held up so nicely that I just always use. And this angled brush can be for so many uses. I know a lot of people like to use an angled brush for eyeshadow to make an eyeliner, or if you do want something on your lower lash line that is more precise and not as blended out as the pencil brush is going to do, an angled brush is great for that. But I use this every single day for my eyebrows. I do use a pomade product from Anastasia to fill in most of my brows, and this brush works so well for that. It is pretty precise, pretty densely packed, pretty short. It just is like the right, I don't want to say consistency, but it's just the right format for applying my brow pomade. So love this brush. A couple other brushes that I do want to mention, just because yes, they are not in my top 10 must-have, but they are brushes that I really like having in my collection. And one of them is an e.l.f. brush. This is the C brush, and it looks like this. It's very flat and tightly packed. I like this brush personally for my brow highlight. I know that I said that you can use the large shader, which of course you can, but I just like having a separate brush because I am going to use the large shader for pigments, glitter, sparkle. You can see I have like a bronze shadow on my eye today. I do not want to have to wipe the brush off thoroughly, maybe even clean the brush before I can go ahead and use a very light color underneath my brow bone, which is what I use every single day. I'm never going to want to put a bronze shadow underneath my eyebrow. I want a highlight that's going to be, you know, whether it's matte or shimmer, it's going to be in the white, you know, cream family. So it's nice to have another brush that's just always for that at all times. And this is e.l.f., so it's literally $3 that you can find at Target. Another brush that I only like to use for light products is one for my inner corner. Again, I did mention that you can use the pencil brush, clean this off, and use it for the inner corner, but isn't it nice having one that's exclusively for that type of shadow that you can use on a daily basis and not have to worry about cleaning it constantly so that you can use it for that? This is a brush I've had for like 2 years now, held up so wonderfully, and people, this is a paintbrush. I got this from Michael's craft store, and I've had it for so long. I know it says Scrumbler on it, like Artist Loft Scrumbler number 6 or something, but this is what it looks like. It has a red handle, really small, stiff dome brush. I'm sure if you can't find this exact one, you can find something similar at Michael's craft store or another artist supply store. This is actually pretty soft. It's not like the softest brush that I have because it is for paint, but it is soft enough and perfect size, like perfect size for me to dab a highlight on my inner corner. So I love having this one as well, and very inexpensive for being a paintbrush, not specified for makeup. And the last brush that I like to have in my collection is another dome-shaped fluffy brush. This is very similar to the concept of the E40, as you can see here, but this one is a little bigger and a little more fluffy. This is from Sonia Kashuk, and I've heard rumors that they don't sell this one anymore, although I'm sure they have something similar because, you know, a fluffy blending brush is so necessary in the makeup world. But this is one that I got a while ago. You can see it has like this squiggly handle, and it's a really nice brush for my highlighting. So if I want to put a cheek highlight on right here or something down my nose, you know, on my lip, whatever I want to do for highlight, I like having a specific brush for that. Again, because I don't have to worry about it having other product on it. It's only going to have remnants of past highlighters that I've used. So I really like it, and all these other 3 brushes that I mentioned are very inexpensive, so keep that in mind if you want to have an extra one in your collection. So of course there are so many other brushes that you can use on a daily basis for makeup application. These are not the only, you know, 13, I guess, brushes that I use or have in my collection, but they are the ones that I use again and again and again. If I was going on a trip, if I was moving, if I could only take, you know, a certain amount of brushes, these are the ones that I would have with me. So I think that says a lot, and it's really important. What I'm gonna do for you guys is link every single brush individually in the description bar. I'll even try to find this artist brush on Amazon or something so that you can find it and that's convenient for you. I hope you guys do look in the description bar, and that if you are looking to buy something, that helps you out, which is literally why I do it. So all I have to say is thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.